It's in the WhatsApp.
Oh, there's
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم. These numbers might be wrong. Let me fix them. 19. Okay. So, inshallah, we are studying a new surah, Surah Al-Fil. There is a historical backstory for that surah. Let's start with that. Or let me first read the surah in short. أَلَمْ تَرَ كَيْفَ فَعَلَ رَبُّكَ بِأَصْحَابِ الْفِيلِ. Have you not seen or considered, how your Lord dealt with the companions of the elephant? أَلَمْ يَجْعَلْ كَيْدَهُمْ فِي تَضْلِيلٍ. Did he not bring their treacherous plan to naught? وَأَرْسَلَ عَلَيْهِمْ طَيْرًا أَبَابِيلَ. And sent against them swarms of birds. تَرْمِيهِمْ بِحِجَارَةٍ مِّن سِجِّيلٍ. Striking them with stones of baked clay. فَجَعَلَهُمْ كَعَصْفٍ مَأْكُولٍ. And made them like straws eaten up by cattle. So this surah is historically referring to an event which happened at the year that the Prophet was born. And this is why that year was called the Year of Elephant. And what happened back then was there was this governor of Yemen, a guy called Abraha, and he was a Christian. And he made a big church in Yemen. And he was envious of how pagans were going to Mecca. So he wanted to destroy Kaaba and attract people's attention to his church. So it was more like a religious duty for him, if you want to take it this way. So he wants to destroy the Kaaba so that people's attention will turn towards church. And then he comes with elephants, with an army, and in army they have war elephants. And as they were about to attack a few miles closer to Mecca, they came all the way to there. And then even there is a small case there. So Prophet's grandfather, who is the chief of Mecca, comes to Abraha and says that you came here and you abducted my camels. So give them back to me. Abraha says, well, you chief of Mecca, you're here for me not to attack Mecca, but rather just to get your own own camels. Says, well, I'm going to, those are my property, I'm going to take them. Kaaba is Creator's property, he will protect his own property, he says, and he takes, people of Mecca, leaves the city, goes to the mountains. And then swarm of birds come. Actually, there's also one historical anecdote that they mentioned there. They say, as they were turning the largest of the elephants towards Kaaba, elephant was not attacking. Whenever they turned the elephant any other direction, the elephant was running. But when they turned it toward Mecca, it didn't go any further. And then birds come, swarms of birds, which have clays in their, one in their beak, two in their talons, and then they throw them on them, and then they are destroyed. The army is destroyed. So historically, the surah is referring to that event. Multiple things that can be understood from here, historically speaking. But inshallah, we will try to understand what that could mean within its historical context. And since this is, again, in the earlier revelation, the second, third year of revelation in terms of its historical time of revelation, what would that mean for the believers back then? But still, this surah is being read to me today, here and now. It's being revealed to me today. What does it mean for me today? Because it's saying, have you not seen Alam Tara Kayfa? This is how it is starting. And I would like to ask the question, first for the Prophet. The Prophet haven't seen that either. This is why this seeing with the eyes is not much of a thing, really, we can talk about. But we will now start having this discussion for ourselves. What does that mean? Occasionally, we will refer back to its historical case. What happened? What did the first audience of Revelation take as a message from that? And today, what do I take as a message from these verses? And here are a few set of questions that I put. So let me put them one after the other, and then we can discuss them. The first verse is, Alam tara kayfa fa'ala rabbuka bi ashabil fil. And the questions I have here is, it starts with Alam tara, have you not seen? I asked the question to myself and to you all, have you seen such a thing ever happening? Like your Lord, what he did or how he did the people of Elephant. Because it sounds as if he did something to them, and now I am being called for witnessing of it. Have you seen such a thing in your lifetime? If not with your eyes, how shall we take this? This is question one. Because Prophet have not seen the case with his own eyes either. Like if we take it as simple, witnessing the historical event, even Prophet did not witness this. So how can we take this? Then becomes an important question. This is question one. Question two, the verse talks about kayfa fa'ala. So how your Lord did. The emphasis in here is not ma fa'ala, what he did, but it's about how he did. So rather than like destroying the army, if it was just ma fa'ala, it would have been, have you seen what he did? He destroyed the army. But the emphasis in here is more about how he did whatever he did. So why is there emphasis on this how, and what am I supposed to get out of this how is our second focus. The third one is Alam tara kayfa fa'ala rabbuka, your Lord. For example, it's not like Alam tara kayfa fa'ala rabbul alameen, like the Lord of the heavens. It's not for the whole creation, but it's saying your Lord. There's this emphasis of this, whomever is acting there is my Lord. What does this signify? What does this emphasize? And again, we need to, of course, over all of these, we need to come up with a case in which I am in so that I can relate to that, because now my Lord is in action. Okay? And also, why is Rabb mentioned in here, but not, because Rabb is having a connotation of mercy in there. It's not like Jalil or Qahhar, like the one who takes, or Muntaqim, who takes revenge, but it's more Lord. So why is there, now just about the Rabbuka, there are two things we can talk about. One is why my Lord, my emphasis is in my, and also why is it Lord but nothing else? And in general, when reading Quran, we should ask such questions about divine names are being specifically used in whatever context they are used. And we should ask the question, why is he mentioning Rahim in here rather than Razzaq, so on and so forth? Always we can ask such questions, and we should. And finally, bi ashabil fil, the companions of the elephant. So why are they identified with elephant? Historically, we know, but what does it signify for me here and now? Those people who are, they are called with, or they are named with their elephants. So what does this signify for me today, here and now?
And the word is ashab, not heritage people, not the people of the elephants, but the companions of the elephants.
Yes. So here are a bunch of questions. Wherever you would like to start, stage is yours. Go ahead.
I'm thinking, so like when I initially read this, I guess my focus would always be on the people of the elephant, how they were destroyed. And I guess this video would be then about like, I guess how God takes revenge or how God destroys people who want to, challenge him. But now that you brought my attention to the replica, I think I'm understanding it differently in the sense that this is not about them, but rather about how I was protected against people who wanted to hurt me, and how my Rabb was there for me, and that how your Lord dealt with it, with them. And I might be wrong, but from what you said, I understood that those people didn't even get to Makkah. So it's like your Lord knew, one, that it was happening, and he preemptively or proactively protected you in a way that it wasn't like you had to fight them and then Kaaba was saved. It's like, no, you weren't even hurt at all. So it's like, look at me, look at how I work for your safety, for your comfort and for your safety.
Good. Jazakallah khair. And you can even start from bottom, like you don't have to go sequential. Actually, initially I put the bottommost question at the top, but then just for the sake of order, I put them at the bottom. But even you can start from there. Who is Al-Fil, the companions of elephant? Who are they for you today? Because Abraham was attacking Kaaba by relying on his elephants.
Could be like when you say money can save me in this world. So those are the companions. So like you base anything off of that variable thing that you have in your life. So in that way that I can be a companion of monies, that I think that money can save me instead of relying on the Creator.
Okay, so those people were relying on elephants,
Yes.
and now what is the alternatives that people are, or maybe I am, or some people are relying on? It could be not elephant, but money, some sort of strength out there, which is replacing elephant in this case. And there is this attack of, I don't know if this was a hand or not, so he's blocking, but anyways. Okay. So somebody is relying on that elephant and trying to oppress people with that. So I have the strength and I would like to oppress you. This, I guess, at least on the surface value, this is what's happening. Someone who has power is imposing that power over somebody else. We can get into details of this somebody else and whatnot, but by power, relying on power, that oppression is coming in there. But in this case, even there's a special case of type of that oppression. It's attacking Kaaba. What is Kaaba? Could be another question here. And what does attacking Kaaba signify? And who attacks Kaaba by relying on power?
I mean, the Kaaba has to signify Tawheed, the oneness of God. And the elephants are sent by the people, trying to direct people to their own false God. They want, support, they want the people to follow that, to boost, I don't know, their whatever interests. And so the elephants are just a means of, destroying or attacking Tawheed.
Yeah. So in my world, where does Kaaba fit in becomes an important question. Because Kaaba is not simply a stone, a bunch of stone put in there, but it's definitely there for signifying something. Anyone inside Kaaba is empty. And look at the rituals that you do with Kaaba. You just turn around it 7 times. Like sometimes this happens with the children, right? You're going to exit from home, you're going to park, and my son turns around the tree once, and you look at it, what did you achieve becomes your question, right? I mean, you just turned around that tree and you didn't get anything. What's the point? And now we're turning around this block 7 times. What did you get? Right? There must be something that you get after turning around Kaaba 7 times. It shouldn't be a futile and nonsense thing, right? So what does it signify? Because Kaaba has so central of a meaning within Islamic tradition. It is the Qibla that everybody turns towards. In Hajj, you make tawaf, you turn around it 7 times, and in Arabic, 7 signifies multiple. Just like as if 77, 700, meaning infinite. You keep turning around it. What does this signify? Somebody is trying to attack that. So this is why we are trying to understand what is the location of Kaaba for me, in my perception, what is the importance of Kaaba? And who is attacking that? Because if we take it simply as a building, you can destroy buildings. And those people were trying to destroy buildings. But the Creator didn't allow this to happen. Let's see where this will take us to. Is there any you were raising your hand at some point? No? No? Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I think one thing I did think about is, it's not the building, but what the building stands for or signifies, as already have mentioned. So if it was just maybe another building, kind of irrelevant, it doesn't really have a meaning attached to it. So, but then it made me think of like the intentionality with what, like, the reason, if it was just another building, that if they saw it as just another building, they will have no reason to destroy it. There will be no desire to destroy it. So the intention and what they recognize as, wanting to destroy that specific thing that they're aiming for, I think that's why maybe the building was protected. It's not about the building, but rather the intention in which it was done. So maybe it was protected against that intention.
Yeah. And in this building, it's empty, right? There's nothing in that building. So I think was saying that Kaaba signifies Tawheed, oneness of the Creator. What does that mean? Like in this universe, I am here. Yes.
But I also felt like pray for it. Like everybody's praying for it.
Yeah.
So there's definitely like a reason why you're told to pray towards, because it could have been any other location, but you're told to pray towards that one. So in a way, that's where everybody's like humble and bowing down to it, and then somebody's like, I'm gonna destroy this. I think there's no bigger defiance than saying, like, I will destroy the one thing where, like, because then that means you bow to that person now, because you would have to replace it. Yeah. I guess that's how I thought of it.
And again, the question is then would become, eventually I was planning to ask it in the next slide though, is it possible to destroy Kaaba? Go ahead.
But I'm also thinking of the historical context of it. And at the time when this happened, like the Kaaba didn't really signify Tawheed, right? Because like at the time, like people weren't praying to Kaaba, and it was more of like a place of worship for everyone and more of like a commercial center. So I'm wondering if maybe we can interpret this also in that context, that it is bad to destroy religious places, period, instead of like Allah's house.
Okay. So Kaaba is a symbol of, as it was established, Tawheed, but then somebody put other gods into that place as well, right? Likewise today, universe is where you get to know your Creator with, isn't it? Like through a tree, through a rising sun, through river, through a mosquito, as Quran gives the example of a mosquito, through a cell, through a flower. Every single one of them signifies you what, tells you what. What does a newborn baby tell you? I'm not the making of my mother. A flower tells you that I am not the making of that tree. A plant says that I am not the making of the seed, or I'm not the making of the water or the nature or anything of that sort. The universe actually tells you that there is a maker which is not inside this house of existence, of universe. Like in a sense, we turn around the existence, we turn around a flower, we turn around a mosquito, we explore the mosquito, but what is being our conclusion after exploring mosquito? We say, La ilaha illallah. Like there exists a maker of that mosquito, but the maker of mosquito is not inside the mosquito. There is an owner of this house, and now I'm referring to house as the whole universe, but the maker of the house is not inside this house, is not like this house, is not part of this house, of this existence. Kaaba is just a symbol of that, staying in there, saying that the maker is not inside here. You turn around it, you turn around the whole existence, but what is being your conclusion? There must exist a maker of this mosquito, but the maker of mosquito is neither its genes, nor its chance, or any of these, or the mosquito itself. Whatever you say, you held onto, you say, but there must exist a maker of this mosquito, which is not sun, which is unlike moon, which is unlike water, unlike genes, unlike chance, unlike any of these. So everything in this sense signifies the creator. Yes, today, in the universe, we put other idols in the same place, in the universe as well. Like, as in the old day, people put other gods into that Kaaba as well, which they did not belong there, but message came and message expelled those other idols from Kaaba. Likewise, today, people put other idols into this universe, say that, oh, no, yeah, God does it, but also, or on the side, chance has a role, your genetics has a role, this has a role, that has a role. Other idols are put inside the universe to say that, oh, maker is inside the Kaaba. Maker is inside or within the creation, within the existence is the message. But when the revelation comes, it dispels or throws away all those false idols and says that no, the existence only refers to one creator. So this is why Kaaba is a symbol. Kaaba can signify the whole existence if you would like to look at it in the outside world. And Quran uses such terms, right? Quran says God set his throne on water. What does that mean? The creation is his kingdom, as if it is manifesting on water, it is manifesting on air, it is manifesting on earth. When you look at the trees, he is acting in the trees. Who is acting in the waters, in the seas? So he is saying that he is the one who is manifesting everywhere, but he is nowhere. He is not inside it. So creation is, in a sense, fulfilling the duty of Kaaba, but Kaaba is symbolizing the whole creation, the whole existence. And you make a tawaf around Kaaba, you know that inside of Kaaba is empty, creator is not there. But by turning around it, you're not repeating the same meaningless thing again and again. You will turn around that mosquito. You will explore mosquito from one perspective, another perspective. It has eyes, it has these wings, it has these genes. What does it signify? As you keep studying and restudying and re-examining mosquito, it's going to tell more about its maker. So this is why you are ascending, getting closer to the maker of the mosquito as you explore mosquito more. 7 times, turn around it. But as Quran puts with Mi'raj as well, you will never get closer. Like, as you get closer, there will always be a distance between you and your maker. But it's not a futile tawaf. You're always getting closer to him, but you're trying to get closer to the absolute one. So that journey has no end. That tawaf should keep happening. throughout your life, you will make that tawaf. And that's it. The journey never ends. That's beautiful. But now somebody comes and says, no, I'm going to destroy that Kaaba by relying on my strength. Because I have strength, but what you're worshiping towards, I'm going to destroy it. Is it possible to destroy Kaaba? Then becomes a question. And the one who destroys it is relying on his or her own power.
For the elephants.
Yeah, the might that they have, it could be wealth. Back then it would be wealth. Today it's going to be, let's say, warplanes. Today it could be research institutes that we have. Whatever you have, like the strength that we rely on, I'm going to destroy what you consider as pointing to one creator. I'm going to destroy that. Is it possible to destroy Kaaba? Meaning what it signifies. Can you really destroy what Kaaba signifies without destroying the universe? Because if you destroy everything, a mosquito will come and say that, look, who made me? You cannot make me. Or any of the things that you have at your hand, at your disposal, you feel like you have this elephant in there. Can your elephant make me? What makes me? What creates me? So that mosquito will shout at your face with that. So destroying Kaaba is a big thing. This is why, actually, it's very beautiful the way Prophet's grandfather did. He said that the creator of Kaaba protects it. So I have no worry about it. The protector of Kaaba will protect Kaaba. I'm responsible to protect my camels. He protects his camels. But am I so sure about it as well? Inshallah, we will talk more about this in the second slide. But let's get back to here. So, yeah, any comments? I'll keep talking if you don't. Go ahead.
Can we maybe go over, have you not seen, like, for example, this, when I was reading it, was when the Quraysh asked the question from the Prophet, like, is this religion for us or like for the whole of humanity? And this was the answer, the revelation that came, like, have you not seen? But as you were mentioning, nor the Prophet saw this happening, neither did we. So how can we apply this to our situation as we're living right now?
Yeah. So in most translations, it's have you seen or have you not seen? But due to the fact that, as you said, like, it should not simply mean visually seeing something, but have you considered such a thing happening? Back then, if you thought about this historical event, it was a common knowledge that this has happened. But today, do I see such a thing? People attacking Kaaba with their elephants, and how Creator is destroying them. Do I see this, and do I consider this? Did I think about it? Another way they translate Alam Tara is, have you considered? Have you thought about this? So do I observe how this is happening, and do I think about it? And in my case, still that attack to Kaaba is happening, attack to Tawheed is happening, or in general, attack to somebody sacred is happening. Let it be Kaaba, let it be, let's say, in Masjid al-Aqsa is Muslims sacred, but then thousands of years ago, Solomon's temple was destroyed. And today, people would say that, well, Masjid al-Aqsa is not our sacred, and we will destroy it. And then we are going to reestablish our sacred temple in there. So destroying of a sacred. What does this mean, even physically today, or if I take it symbolically, because this is a message that applies to everyone, and the emphasis in there is your Lord. So this should really be a personal message that I'm going to take from here. So my Lord did something to them, and he's attracting my attention to how he did it, not what he did, which is important. How does my Lord destroy? Because if this is a once upon a time extraordinary event that happens, what am I going to take out of that? Or is this something that keeps happening so that I can take reassurance from that? Because if it was a miracle or like extraordinary thing, because أَلَمْ يَجْعَلْ كَيْدَهُمْ فِي تَضْلِيلٍ, did he not bring their treacherous plan to naught? They come up with this treacherous plan to destroy Kaaba, and the Creator is destroying their plan. But how does he do this? وَأَرْسَلَ عَلَيْهِمْ طَيْرًا أَبَابِيلَ, by sending swarms of birds. And the Creator says, I would like you to pay attention how I destroyed it. So destroying armies of elephants with simple birds, like, which seems quite imbalanced. Like, if you are going to destroy elephants, send dinosaurs on top of them or something like this, right? I mean, if they come up with elephants, God sent his dinosaurs, or I don't know, or at least dragons, like flying. Yeah.
I have a question, but so I guess like the elephants are also coming from the same source. So yeah, I just find it interesting because like the elephant is coming from the same source that's being used to destroy, trying to destroy the sort where it's coming from. It's like trying to kill your own lord, in a way. And then the bird is, of course, so like, does the power really matter if the one sending it is the same? Like, you can put in the same power if he wants to,
Yeah.
you know, like, I'm not sure. But.
Yeah. So maybe let's take it in from multiple ways. If we just take it from the historical story, even the elephant did not attack Kaaba, which is interesting, because the people who thought that they were the owners of elephant said that we will attack Kaaba with this elephant.
Yeah.
But elephant didn't attack, which is interesting. If I just stick with this story, the historical narration, still it's interesting. As you said, the elephant, although I claim to be the owner of the elephant and I'm commanding the elephant to attack, elephant doesn't listen to my command, but rather listens its real owner's command, which is interesting, as you were pointing to. But in addition to this, at least in the eyes of the supposed owner of the elephant, they say, we are mighty, and might has right. Since we are strong, whatever we say is right. If we call it self-defense, it's self-defense. It's not killing anyone. So our truth is truth, if you. But the Creator says, you're relying on that power? Let me show you who is more powerful. Elephant is not powerful than bird. From the point of its creator, bird could defeat what you consider as strong. You think elephant is more strong? No. I am the strong one, the Creator says, and here is the weakest of my creation, bird, and they only have pebbles in their hand. With pebbles and bird, I'm going to destroy you. At least this is how it's going. But I need to ask the question, do I observe such a thing? Some people are relying on power, and something as simple as a flower, for example, the creation of flower, or as Quran puts it, giving an example for mosquito. The people challenged Prophet, right? Saying that, does your Creator not ashamed of giving the example of a mosquito? It's at the very beginning of Surah Baqarah. And there's a response saying that my Creator is not ashamed of giving the example of a mosquito or anything below it. We consider a mosquito to be like unnecessary. The Creator is saying that no, mosquito. Can you make a mosquito? Or can you make a fly? Or even wing of a fly? Saying that what you consider, because you think that important things are big things. Okay, here I am challenging you with the least important. So I am as if attacking to you with the least of things. Try to get this challenge, make something like this. Likewise, Quran is by speech saying that I'm not asking you to come up with a whole Quran, just come up with a surah, a short surah. Can you even check? Because you're coming up with we come up with all this knowledge of libraries and everything. Quran says, okay, here is a short surah. Try to make something like this. You cannot. So by showing what is apparently small and challenging you with that small thing, Quran is saying that what you consider or rely on as your strength is nothing. You are having a false worldview about strength.
So I'm thinking about an example. I don't remember if I mentioned this article here before, but I was reading an article as part of the research we do about the connectivity in the brain. And the guy is studying the brain connectivity, neuroscience stuff. And he shows how the efficiency of the connections, and it has a very unique solution, mathematical study. And then in the discussion, he says, okay, we are naturalists, so we have to, and I'm not, exaggerating or trying to make it funny. I can share it if you like. Like these are almost paraphrasing the text. Because we are naturalists, we have to believe that this system is designed by the evolution as applied to the watchmaker. But we have a huge problem, he says, when you consider the number of connections is around 10 to the power 60 different combinations. And even if you consider all possible species existed in this world, even if you consider all possible, just the atoms in the universe, we don't have even, the close enough random the assignments. So it is not possible to get this out of, the random the mutations.
Trial and error.
Sorry?
Trial and error.
Yeah. And so we have to believe that the evolution used some engineering skills. And then he explains these skills, and then he says, in the industry, we cannot solve these problems, but, using our entire collective minds, we cannot use these problems, but somehow evolution solved it. Anyway.
It's a mystery.
Sorry?
It's a mystery.
It's a mystery, yeah. So,
we have to believe in it.
So he has in his hand a powerful thing, which is, his science and the brain, all these fancy equations and so on. And then he thinks, by showing certain, the properties of this huge thing, the elephant, he will prove that there's no God. And then the elephant refuses to move in the direction that he wants. He wants to use the elephant as a, the destroyer. And elephant says, no, I'm not. I mean, it's not possible what you are making of me. It's not possible, elephant says. And then comes another person, for instance, let's say Imam Nursi, and says, forget about the brain, forget about everything. Let's look at just one particle in the universe, bird. And forget about all these connections and so on. Could you please explain me how this particle exists or how this particle moves? Just explain me this. Just one little bird, and he destroys entire in the narration
of the army.
of the army, yes. No matter what stories you make up, just looking at the movement of a tiny thing. And when you realize that the displacement of one particle from one place to another place requires the entire knowledge of the entire universe, the power of the entire universe, and so on and so forth, just that this little bird destroys the entire army, entire literature of what you were making up.
What you gathered to destroy Kaaba cannot stand before this seemingly insignificant or powerless creature, and it's just destroying that whole thing. So this is why it is a once upon a time extraordinary event. The creator is just annihilated an army of elephants won with birds, or even if you look at it today, those who would like to rely on some sort of a might of fancy institutions that do cutting edge research or some sort of power or media, whatever. What does Quran attack them with? Quran attacks them with creation of human, with a single mosquito, how rain is being sent, how plants are being coming out. These are the birds, swarms of birds that throw pebbles to those elephants, and they do kill them if we pay attention to what they are saying. What does it mean? How come a Faliqul Habbi wan Nawa, very interesting verse, the one who clefts asunder the seed and then takes out a plant. Creator says, who is the one that makes this? The same verse follows with the one who clefts asunder, is this the right word? The night and takes day out of it. Faliq is, again, the same word is used for both splitting the seed and taking out the plant. And then he says, the same one splits the night, takes out the day. Attracting my attention. The two are being done by the same hand, isn't it? Because how do we investigate how seed germinates? We try to isolate everything in the lab environment, right? This is how we do science. We isolate all the cases and we are trying to investigate it in a dish. Does things happen in the vacuum, or a seed being split apart and a plant coming out is happening at the same time as the night turns into day? So likewise, sun is rising and setting. Everything is so much intertwined. Whomever is splitting the seed and taking out the plant from there must be powerful enough and knowledgeable enough also to split the night and take the day out of it. If one cannot do the other, then cannot do this one. Is it chance? Is the sun coming out by chance? Then is it your nature? Is it the DNA? Is your DNA able to take out the sun tomorrow? Because it's all happening at the same time. We cannot simply refer to, it's an ongoing mechanism. No, today it's going to happen. Like, for example, we say, this university is running with certain laws. Nice. Tomorrow, let's say there's nobody who's going to run the university. Laws are still there. But let's say all the university officials resign. What would happen to this university tomorrow? Laws are still there, written somewhere. University will get into ruins within a few days. Like, if his salary is not going to get paid, he's not going to work. Like, he's not going to work the other day. The whole university, with all its might, UPenn, will collapse within a month or so if salaries are not paid. Students will,
We have laws for international, the laws for war.
Yeah, international law is there. Who cares, right? Who practices the law? So whomever is splitting the seed seemingly very simple thing, right? The one who splits the night and takes the day out of it, can only that one split the seed. So if you are not strong enough to split the day, do not claim ownership over splitting the seed. So that's why the creator is saying that, you think you own those elephants? Let me show you what happens. I'll throw pebbles. It's very symbolic, right? Pebbles thrown to elephants and gets destroyed. And in Hajj, we are throwing pebbles to Satan. So very symbolically, it's telling a lot. It's not simply throwing a pebble, but throwing the simple pebble of a, if you like, a tiny flower or tiny seed to the whole ideology of it happens by itself, it happens because of chance, it happens because of natural laws. Just throw a seed towards there and say that, okay, if you can, just germinate the seed with whatever you are claiming that is germinating the seed. In order to germinate the seed, the one who claims to be germinating the seed must have knowledge and power of what's happening on the other side of the universe, because this is how intertwined the existence is. This is how the creator in Quran giving us examples from all the creation, using birds as evidence, like simple birds and pebbles as examples, and saying that might does not have right. Truth prevails, and truth is here.
You speak like the forefathers of this country.
Okay.
So the first ayah, if we go back to the first ayah, to me the key words there then are kayfa. And you mentioned this fa'ala part, and a scholar once told me that in Quran fa'ala is reserved exclusively for the creator, the thing. So there are other, the words for doing things, which is used for humans as well, or other things. But when it comes to faith, it is reserved for the creator. I didn't check myself, but for the examples I've seen so far, they were always satisfied with the prayer or the claim. There are some parts, for instance, Quran says, la yaf'al, like they didn't do, still applies. So they claim to doing something, but actually they didn't do it at what the creator does. So that's one important thing. And the other one is the kayfa, as you said, how, not ma, not what, or not who, but how. And why this is important? Because this is one question we never ask. We have even this silly, stupid, I can be even more
Derogatory.
The attitude saying that, oh, the how is for these, like let's say science, and why is for religion, and so on and so forth. Interesting, we don't see much why in Quran, but we always see how in Quran. For instance, when Quran talks about how shadow is created with the sun and light and so on, again the word kayfa is used there. Haven't you seen how your creator, creates the shadow and so on? Kayfa.
How he creates camel.
Yes.
The famous verse.
So the ayah is telling me, together with the other ayahs, telling me that in your life, in your journey of belief, you will face this giant, powerful thing marching against you, or people using this powerful, seemingly powerful thing to destroy your understanding, to mislead you. And they were so powerful, like all these books written by all these intellectuals, you say. How am I going to fight against them? All these nations, the culture, the people, new generations, whatever. These are so powerful, you would say. They are all coming to you. And Quran says your
weapon is asking a simple question. How? How it happens? How it was done? That's your weapon, Quran says. This is the birds that he's talking about. Asking how. Okay? So something happens, I don't know, a phone falls down, and you say, how it falls, not what happens when it falls. It's not about the equation. It's not about with this speed at this moment and so on and so on. No. This is not the answer of how. Some people will treat you that, oh yeah, I'm answering the how. I will give you some equations. I said, no, I'm not asking that one. I'm asking how the heck this phone can move. How it can exist here and then here and then here. How it can move everything around it. Like how? In what capacity? What qualities that this phone has to manage this? And they will say, we don't ask such questions. We are just, what is the word, anthropomorphizing the phone? Yeah, we are just anthropomorphizing the phone. And then the next moment, they will say the neuron in the brain prefers such a stimuli, for instance. They say, what happened to anthropomorphizing? Now the neuron prefers something. Right? So this is the question. How it happens? They will say, you just pour water on the ground and you put a seed first, of course. You put a seed, cover it, and now pour some water, and then it will
Germinate.
Okay, that was not the word. Sprout. And it will sprout and so on. And so you say, how water, can make it, or the earth, or the seed itself, how it happens. And they say, oh yeah, sure, there are these, the equations or these processes. No, I'm not asking about that. Like a how in the real sense. كيف فعل? Who did this and how he or she or it did it? Tell me this. Is it water? Yes, of course it's water. Then tell me it's like how water can do this. This is your palace.
Mm-hmm. So that sounds very primitive. Irkan is just fooling us with nice words. Could be the impression that one gets. Because he's using very simple language. I mean, he didn't use any jargon. He didn't say that, oh, there's this and that. He just
said German.
Well, I said it, not you. So, but on the other hand, we have all these equations which are claiming to be answering that how. But there is an action being done, but how is this action happening is a question. And simplifying it is perfectly beautiful, actually, in this case, because, to me, the best example or the way that it makes things clear for me is you wake up one day and you see that over your car with a key, somebody has written, with some hard thing, some hate speech is written on your car. Leave this, like, go back to your own country, written on your car, on your beautiful car, Atik. So, and then somebody go to your own country, something like this, right? And you call police, and police says, oh, how is this written? Oh yeah, it is a hard surface scratched here. So, what do you mean? How did this happen? Like, was it just flying like wind?
When the pressure applied to such a surface, it will leave some marks.
Yeah. So
with this equation.
When we say, well, look, somebody is cursing me here, that means somebody who knows me. No, you're anthropomorphizing the hard thing. Like, it's just the thing of a hard thing touching it. You would, well, look, there's a serious thing going on in here. Somebody is attacking me personally. There's more than just this hard surface being scratched is happening in here. nobody would, in their sanity, would say such a thing, right? Nobody would buy what police is trying to take you into. You would say that, well, no police would do that anyways, but let's assume we are living in such a country, which we are going towards that country anyways. But you would say that, no, don't make fun of me. Definitely somebody intentionally scratched this, and this is a hate crime. This is not by chance. Likewise, this is the proper answer to how. Talking about the thingy that scratched the surface and talking about how deep it went, what was the pressure being applied, is not the answer to how. It's a different type of an answer, but it's not answering the proper how that I'm interested in hearing. Yes.
Like an example you gave, I was thinking about like association does not necessarily mean that there's causality between the two things, because it's right, maybe in most cases, the way you get scratched on the car might be that like somebody usually has to write and scratch it, but maybe that time was a car that passed by and that like whatever. So it doesn't necessarily mean that like every single time you see that kind of association, it's the same cause. So it's really hard to establish that there is a causality between the two things.
Yeah.
More than we can say association, because we see that all the time, like the example you gave of the plant. Somehow when I water it, I know it's gonna grow it under certain like, I guess, conditions, right? So then I start attributing that thing like, oh, that must be what caused it. It must be the watering, but we don't really know. We've never like solidly said, oh, this causes this. That's harder, I think, to establish than just association.
And why would Atik still suspect that it's a hate crime? Because he knows that whomever just written Atik, I hate you, go like the guy knows me, the guy hates me, and it's explicit, like there's a message in there. But the police is trying to deny the fact that there's a message in there. Likewise, if somebody is putting that fruit over the tree, like there's a message in there. Nobody puts such a gift to somewhere in there out of nothing. That's why the best example that MSA students get excited about is, I say, well, you find a rose in your dorm room. When you live here, you go back to your room and you find a rose over your desk. How would you feel?
He's an MSN student, he's already.
And of course, this is maybe a rose for the ladies. Boys would
He
get
meant young people, not the affiliation with the.
boys would get offended having a rose in their room. I mean, you guys have a car key, right? Okay, so you wouldn't say that, well, this is just a plant, a silly plant here. So it signifies a message. You're not anthropomorphizing the rose or anything. You say that, well, this is too good to be like, means something. The next day you see another rose. I mean, you throw it away. You just say that, well, maybe it's for, I don't know how it ended up in here. You throw it away. Next day you see another rose. You see that fruit every spring in there. You see this rain day in, day out. Somebody's serving you that water. So what does this signify? What is the proper how here? Is it that, well, it's just by chance? Or is it that somebody really scratched this car, or somebody really is putting this rain over there? So the proper asking of how is important in here. That's why Quran emphasizes this how, and still emphasizing how here. And this is not once upon a lifetime thing. This is happening right now in here. Yeah.
So the question of how emphasizes not why, it does not emphasize what, it does not emphasize who, but the method. So why are we putting so much focus on the method where maybe the other things are also?
Yeah. So that how is going to tell me about who made it, why made it. Like if again, it might be a repetition, but our example of, you get this, door is knocked, you get a FedEx carrier, brings you a package. And you open up the package, it's carefully covered, and it's coming in the day that's your birthday. And what comes is something that you're in need of. So now you're writing them side by side, saying that, okay, carefully packaged, somebody caring must be there. Based on how it's packaged, you are saying that, well, the way it's packaged, it shows some care, extra care. It's not simply put on a Amazon box, but it was gift wrapped, so extra care. Coming in, my birthday, somebody knowing my birthday. So because all these answers to how is going to tell me about who is making it. Somebody caring, somebody knowledgeable, somebody loving, right? So because without answering those how, I don't know who. Answers to that how is going to tell me the qualities of who. I know that such a who exists, but I don't know who. How would I know who? I would know about that who by seeing how he behaves. So this is why how is the key in there. Yeah.
How is this, I guess, the example of this is like the good stuff, but I don't know the example of like the car, the hatred, like how did you end up finding the method for that? Like what side are you supposed to ask yourself like, was I supposed to learn something from somebody writing like harsh things to me today? Like,
so the reason I gave this bad example is nobody would buy when something bad has happened to you. Nobody would buy the idea of it's happening by chance, right?
oh,
If your car was destroyed and I come and say, oh, it's by chance, you would say, are you kidding me? But you are being created, right? And somebody comes and says, oh, it's by chance. And you say, hey, it makes sense. Yeah, I was created by chance. Like, this is a good thing. Making is harder than destroying. When somebody destroys your car or your car gets destroyed, you don't buy the idea of it happens by itself. But when something is being made, which is harder and requires to put effort and everything, we are okay with buying the idea that it happens by itself. Like,
I know it's taking too much time, but I think it's really important, this the kaifa part. And it comes with fa'ala as well, right? Or not only kaifa, but kaifa fa'ala. So it's not only about the method. So like even in English, when we ask a how question, we can ask it in different senses. So for instance, like when I ask you how to make a cake, right? All I need is a recipe. I don't care about your experience, your qualities, and so on and so forth. I just need the recipe. And the assumption is whoever uses the same recipe, the outcome would be same. That's the assumption. And when I ask how, in this sense, it is very close to a what question. Like I say, give me the ingredients and what am I going to do with them? That's the way we ask. And this is the method part. But when we ask how, for instance, how you play a guitar, right? It's that like I'm not asking like with what speed you're moving your fingers at what time and so on and so forth. I'm asking about a talent or quality there, right? So it's not about just a method, but about the how you implement this method through what the competence and capacity. So there are different senses. And when we look at these in Quran, it says kayfa fa'ala. So it comes with the feel. And it's like a doing something, action, but it's not happening by itself, the verb, like the fa'ala. Yeah, right? It has a fa'il, it has a dur. So when it is asked in this sense, it comes attached with who as well. Because an agent is somebody, an actor, a fa'il, has to carry, let's say, has to carry these qualities to do in a certain way. Like if your friend playing guitar, for instance, right? So the kayfa fa'ala is look at this thing, something is being done, fa'ala. Something is being done in front of your eyes. See it as an action. Don't take it as happening. Take it as an action and ask who can act in this way, who can be the actor, who has such and such qualities would make him, able to perform in this way. How? So you have a flower, right? You say that, oh, there's an action there. A flower being created. It's not a happening, it's not a thing. It's a creation, it's an action.
Because it's a meaningful outcome.
Yeah. So, like, or you smell a flower, there's a smell being created in you. There's a, the experiencing being created in you. This is an action. And something is, acting there. And you have to ask the question of, okay, what am I seeing there? And you say, oh, I see this, I experience this beautiful smell, which gives me pleasure, which changes my feeling. There's a color there, and so on and so forth, all these qualities. And then you ask, who has these qualities to perform this action in front of me? How it can happen? So this is كيف فعل, to my understanding.
Like, this just reminded me of a funny anecdote. It doesn't maybe too much related to here, but there is an insurance term, act of God. If something bad happens to your car, they call it act of God. So they don't blame chance when something bad happens, and they say, well, it's God did it, just go and ask it from God. Yeah, so inshallah, let's conclude with that. It's Rabbuka as well, which is emphasizing that destroying of this army has something to do with you. It's related to you. Take a personal message out of what's going on in here for yourself. Because sometimes we are getting lost with the things that are happening in the larger scale, but whatever is happening in larger scale is happening for me, my Lord, my sustainer, is creating that for a message to me. Do I take this personal message out of that? This is what matters the most for me. Do I read the personal message? Because the one who makes me, who creates me, is handling that as well. Do I take my personal message out of that? Do I see how my Lord, again, Rab, sustainer, provider, the one who is careful and nurturing, nourishing me, is taking care of that event over there as well? The one who split my seed and makes me out of that seed is the one who is taking care of Abraham's army as well. The one who nurtures me, can he destroy them? This is the message that I should be taking out of that. So, which is, nowadays, now that we are really day in, day out, being horrified by what's going on in Gaza, what am I going to take out of that? What is my Lord telling me from what's happening in there? And this is just a physical manifestation of elephants attacking Kaaba. How do I take a stand, or do I observe my Creator destroying elephants, armies of elephants, the might, the power, with swarms of birds, simply birds with their pebbles?
Tweets.
In my world, do I see that those armies are destroyed? Or in my world, armies are not destroyed? If in my own world, armies are threatening, I'm afraid of the armies in my world, then I should pay more attention to this verse. And I should look at my Creator's birds and how those birds are attacking those apparently strong armies of elephants. Because Creator says, I do destroy them. This is not once upon a lifetime event. Quran is giving this surety, security, and I should benefit from that. If this happens in my personal life, then 23 years later, elephants, it was destroyed, let's say at the birth of prophets, this was the year of elephant. At age 40, the message came to destroy whatever is left over. Plus 23 years, the whole ideology was destroyed of this. The ideology that tries to destroy Kaaba was totally cleaned up. Kaaba was cleaned up from everything. Like 63 years before, somebody is trying to destroy Kaaba. The Creator of Kaaba preserves Kaaba, but still idols are there. Fast forward 60 somewhat years later, message comes, and then Kaaba is cleaned up. in your world, in my world, if birds destroys elephants, the more in individuals' words, those armies of elephant gets destroyed, the truth will prevail as a physical manifestation of it as well. So in our personal worlds, let's establish Tawheed. Let's see how the Creator is destroying those enemies of truth. And inshallah, physical armies, the elephants, or whatever that is promoting to trying to destroy Kaaba will get annihilated, as we will come inshallah next week. We'll make them like straws eaten up. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم من الحمد لله رب العالمين الفاتحة.